In terms of some of the review and stuff, I believe watched a bit of the grand final yesterday. Looking back at that, how was that as a club to approach that?
Oh, it's something we had to do. We spent all day doing it. We moved our training session till today, actually on the field, because we needed to address it. I think the way to go forward is to certainly look at it. The players were fantastic through that part. To be open, honest, and to review it like we would was really important for this football club going forward. And hopefully we can learn from that. It's behind us now, but you've got to take plenty of lessons from it.
What was the biggest lesson?
I think probably two things that we value. The way that we defended in our contest was really poor, which has been really consistent for most of the year. But we want to be a team that when the stakes get higher, that's what we turn to, that's what we go to, and we deliver on that. And we weren't able to do that. Brisbane were phenomenal. They played a really good brand of football and extremely well, but we let ourselves down in those areas.
Can you give us a bit of insight into kind of what you wanted the players to get out of it in terms of, were you encouraging them to kind of speak up during the review and really share their thoughts in that sense?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's what we do in every review. Our ability for the players and certainly our leaders are fantastic in that space to be able to get out of each player how they're feeling, what they felt during that particular time, how we want to move forward. And they did that yesterday. So, it was brave of them. It was tough to go back and watch. But they were open to it. They wanted to do it. So did myself and us as a football club. So that happened, and now we get a chance to go about 25 and beyond.
Just how tough was it? Did it exercise a few demons for the playing group, do you think?
Yeah, for sure. For everyone involved, to look back on it. And that was our last performance as a football club. So to be able to do that, to stare it in the face, to learn from it, and that's the only way you can go forward. That's why we had to do it.
Is that almost a line in the sand now? It's like, okay, we've reviewed it, we've looked at it, now it's all forward from here?
Yeah, you'll always learn from mistakes that you make in life, but also on the football field and as a football team as well. So as long as we can learn from that, put into practice what we want to try and implement and improve, that when the stakes get higher again, no doubt this football club will play in some big matches to come. And when we get there, we'll be ready for it.
On the back of the review, how much does the game plan change after that? Does it stay the same? It's just a few sort of changes here and there?
Yeah, we'll change a fair bit of it. I think that's what all clubs do now. And being a new coach, you'll always have a flavour on the way that you want to play, and we'll do that as a team. In the next few days, we'll deliver that to the playing group. Yesterday was about the grand final, and then now going forward, it's about what changes we're going to make to obviously stimulate, but also to play a little bit of a different brand. And we'll build that over the pre-Christmas, and then certainly Jan and Feb will start to really ramp it up.
On that flavour, what is your flavour of coaching? How do you want them to play?
I think the best sides in the world defend really well first. And that's one thing that this club's always done, and one thing, whilst I'm here, we'll continue to do. We'll have a really strong focus on where we can turn the ball over, how we can control what the oppo do. And that's the first part of our game plan. Our contest method needs a little bit of work. Some consistency throughout the year dropped away, but we need to make sure that we're really strong in that area of the ground as well. Our attack took care of itself, and that'll continue to evolve, but from the review and then going forward, we need to tweak a couple of things in that other areas.
Is part of that defence work also what you recall from your time playing against the Swans, like back in 05 and 06, that was such a defensively strong team. I mean, you even had the AFL CEO calling in at points. That's what the Swans were known for back then as well. Yeah,
for sure, and that's what this club's built a really strong brand on. And that won't change. There'll just be some little subtle adjustments within that and the way we do defend in certain areas of the ground. So it'll still be, like it always has been, a really strong focus, but just the little subtle tweaks that we'll make about how we want to try and implement that.
You mentioned a few positional changes might be seen. We saw Twing Mac taking some leading forward marks today at training. Is that one of them, or is that a little bit of just an early in pre-season getting his hands sorted?
That's an early one. Tommy's been phenomenal for us down back for periods of his career so far, but he started as a forward as well. One thing we want to try and do is we want to build flexibility in our team. We want to also make sure that Tommy's been around for a while, that he gets a look ahead of the ball at times, and when he does that, he creates something completely different for a dynamic of our forward line. So we'll do that with midfielders, we'll do that with forwards, and also some defenders will change places. So that'll eventuate over the whole summer. There's nothing straight that we're going to do right today, but they'll get a look at multiple positions.
Chad Warner.
Yep.
Where do we sit at the moment, and is it going to take one WA boy, sweet talking another WA boy to stay on the East Coast?
Like anything, Chad's a really high priority of this football club. Not only the way he plays, but obviously his contract status and where it sits. And for us, it's about trying to retain our best talent for as long as we possibly can. And Chad's one of those. You know, so now it's about, he's back from WA. He started today, yesterday, and then today. And you know, now it's a chance to sit down with him over the coming period and see where his head's at. You know, we want to make sure that he's a part of this football club, that he performs for this football club. No doubt he will. And then what the future holds, well, that's what we've got to try and sort out in the next short term.
As a head coach now, do you see anything wrong with him having a yarn or lunch with Don Pike or a game of golf with Kieran Jack?
Well, I think he's certainly known Don and Kieran from his time here. Pike coached here for a long period of time. So, you know, he knows Don, he's back in WA. We take it at face value on that. So, you know, for us, we've got to control what we can. It's about trying to create a football club that Chad wants to be a part of going forward. Yeah, so far so good. You know, he had this attention last year towards the back, you know, certainly, and he's an All-Australian. You know, so obviously it will ramp up the longer it goes, but, you know, we want to make sure that, you know, Chad prioritises what his role is at this football club. You know, and that's what we'll hold Chad to account to. He'll be fine externally. You know, he's a quality young man that hopefully can put that aside, play some really good footy, and then sort it out as we go.
How soon do you expect these talks to happen?
They've been constant. Yeah, they always are. With players coming out of contract, you know, they happen a long way before the actual last year of their contract. So, and that'll be the same with Chad. It's just constant dialogue with Chad, his management group, and the footy club. And hopefully something can get sorted.
Dino, why Moraine for the change?
I didn't have.
Lucky being cruel?
That wasn't part of sort of the brief that I got, but things that come a long way out certainly decided that. So it is a training attire that's a little bit different. Players will get used to it.
Can you turn it into a positive when you're thrashing?
Oh, I think not at all. I think, you know, last year was last year. They were phenomenal, Brisbane. You know, it's a new season, a new change, and I'm excited to see what the boys can do.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
That's the Sydney Swans' new coach, Dean Cox there. Now, fronting the cameras is the Sydney Swans skipper, Callum Mills. We just heard from Dean Cox that the grand final review is now done. The belting at the hands of the Lions. They had to stare it in the face.
Yeah,
and now,
start today, but
we hear from Callum Mills as well.
It's obviously a fresh start with Coxie taking over, and everyone's really excited.
How fresh do you feel considering what you played as much as you heard last season?
Yeah, I feel good. Obviously got a nice sort of, not a rest throughout last year, but it was a load off the body. So I'm really looking forward to putting in a really good pre-season and sort of getting back to it.
How have things been since the change of the guard?
Yeah, really good. You know, Coxie's brought in a lot of energy. Whilst we know him, we sort of don't know him as a head coach, and he did an amazing job setting the tone yesterday and throughout the review, and it was really good.
How tough was that, watching them back to grand final?
Yeah, it was really tough, and everyone has different emotions towards it, but, you know, it's something we obviously weren't proud of, but we, as Coxie said, we have to stare it in the face, and to be able to move forward, you have to look at it, stare at it, learn at it, and then hopefully when we get back, or even any big games, we're able to produce what we learnt.
How tough was that week for you, and especially looking back at it yesterday, knowing how kind of close you were to being able to play in that game?
Yeah, it was a tough week, but I think that's kind of what makes you as a person is to be able to go through those times, and as Coxie said, you learn from it, you reflect from it, and then you put things in place going forward. And you know, everyone has hard times in their careers, but you know, it's being able to reflect, learn from it, be in the moment, and then be a different player or a better player or a person because of it.
What motivation has it given you for this year coming up now? Kind of not only that, but the injury halted year, like only playing 7 or 8 games. Like, does it light a different fire inside of you for 25?
Yeah, it's interesting. Whether a grand final or missing out most of the year drives you. I think you've got to be careful holding on to that for too long. You've got to be able to separate yourself from it and move forward, not based upon a certain amount of fuel for long, because I don't think that lasts. So, but everyone takes it differently, and as we said, it was a really nice to be able to. Well, it wasn't nice to view it, but it was also nice to be able to move on, to be able to see it, and then hopefully implement the things we want to do.
You said Dean really set the tone yesterday. Can you describe how he did that with the group?
Dean? Oh, Dean, sorry. No, he was really good. He just, told us about his philosophies and what his values are. And it was a nice, strong base to go from that into the review. And we learned a lot about Dean as a head coach and what he's going to be. And I think it makes it really clear for us, and we're really excited.
In terms of the review, was it were the things that you guys identified yesterday different to what you might have identified after the 22 grand final? Were there similarities, or did you find that the two kind of results were a bit different?
Different team, really. One was 2 years ago, but we honestly just looked at the one last year or this year, sorry, and we looked it in the face. We watched the first half, and we put Coxie's going to implement things in the program going forward that we can constantly practice after what we learn.
You talked about defence being a really key pillar for him. I mean, how do you think that looks, I guess, in the early couple of... I know you came back and trained a little bit last week. What does that look like under Dean Cox?
We'll go through it over the next couple of days. Coxie's going to go through the game plan and a few other things over then. But us as a playing group, that's what we've done for a while, but we're also keen to double down on it and follow Coxie.
Cal, have you talked to Chad? Do you know what his vibe is?
Yeah, I talked to Chad. I didn't talk to him about his contract, though.
Do you have any hand in trying to keep him in?
I think everyone does. Like, the environment you create is really important, but it's not only for Chad, it's for everyone else in the building. And we want to create the best high-performance environment we possibly can, and hopefully Chad sees that. We don't do it all for Chad. We do it for everyone within the building, and hopefully Chad can see that. And he's obviously a really vital part of our team, but, we do this for everyone.
Cheer, the red and the white, blood, they're the colours that Sydney's famous for. How did it feel as a playing group pulling on the maroon training kit?
It's a bit different, but, switch up's nice. Well, it's not ideal, the colour, but, I think it looks good first day. So if you're a Swans fan, get into the merch store and buy some merch.